Welcome to another edition of Strange New Pod. I'm your Fleet Admiral and host, Julian Brown, alongside the best bridge crew this side of a bottle of Saurian brandy Scotty has waiting for him after having a deal with Jim Kirk. Oh, man. Praetor Giraffe is here wondering if she can get a pair of nacelle paperweights, and Captain MC's here for Vulcan Captain Supremacy. Let's face it, so is Giraffe as well. Yeah. Welcome back, guys. How we doing tonight?
Doing good. I'm very happy to finally have my background fixed up because for weeks it was a disaster area.
Nice.
But yeah.
Nice. Giraffe, how you doing?
I'm here.
You're surviving. You're alive.
Not thriving, but still here, which,
Not thriving, but
already a
surviving. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Take what we can get.
Maybe one step removed from becoming a Reaver. Who knows?
We might all become Reavers at the end of this pod. Yeah. Let's get right into it, guys. This week, what happens with the Farragut is severely damaged, forcing Jim Kirk to take command with a support crew from the Enterprise. Is he able to heed the call or succumb to the pressure? Is Enterprise able to escape after being eaten by the Devourer ship? How does all of Pelia's hoarding come in handy? Can the Enterprise even do that? And how about that twist at the end? It is our review of episode 306 of Strange New Worlds, the Sehlat that ate. It's the Sehlat who ate its tail. We are going to get right into it in a few minutes here. But before we do, you guys have both done it recently, and it's just been the three of us. So I'll do it. I will read the patrons and give you guys a break tonight. So a big thank you to our amazing Ready Room level patrons and above: Simon Stager, Jeff Reeve, Tallulah, Jen Stein, Tina Alexander, Joe Saporito, Kung Hui, Takaka Nagumo, Fernanda Nogales, SMK, Colin Davidson, Shatterhand 2049, Jesco, Michael Graham, Emily and Travis, Maggie Light, Wayne Ritz. By the way, just going to stop at Wayne for a second and say we just celebrated the 1 year anniversary of Wayne's passing. So we miss you, Wayne, forever in our patrons list. We had a nice happy hour to celebrate him. Skonavark, Sean, Jay Howard, Mehalani Uchiyama, Matt Harker, Joshua Lewis, Tara Poland, Slope74, Rude Parakeet, Adam Sanders, Amy the Magic Snail, Aaron W., Karangoli, Michael Kwan, Caitlin, Elizabeth Dean, Jim McMahon, Sedano317, Puka Hair, 3 Fry Short, Cat Tippe, Tripping the Read Alert over a Pineapple, Sean Manning, Asher at the Bat, Chris Waterman, RHCB, Martin Simpson, Norman Buckwald, David Prime Hildebrand, Taryn J. Robinson, Rod Grenier, Eric the Red, Trouble, Jamie Roberts, Honeyberry, Paul Taylor Pitt, Brett Jones, Michelle P., Margin Walker 82, Melissa Bartell, Jesse Robbins, Kim, Chris Finolio, Felix Dax, Kelly McKinnon, and Chief Petty Officer Snuggles. Oh, thank you. You guys freaking rock. Who wants to read our Badmirals, please?
I'll take it. And of course, a big thank you to our Badmirals, our EPs who keep our phones connected and busy signals at a minimum. Simon Stager, Chris Waterman, Tara Poland, Brett Jones, Dana, Matt Harker, Jim McMahon, Maggie Light, and Pfeff.
Sorry, don't mind the very loud noise of me getting paper because I don't know where my editing notebook is. Thank you to everyone. You guys freaking rock. Thank you for keeping the lights on. We have some very quick news. We are going to say right off of the bat, if you hadn't figured it out yet by this episode, that this is almost certainly a backdoor pilot for Akiva's Star Trek Year One series, or how we're dubbing it, MC.
5-year mission. We're going to make it happen.
5-year mission. If that's what you want, like us, we did an episode on it, then this is pretty awesome. And we, like I just said, did a whole episode on what we would want from this, what we would not want from this, everything having to do with it. Go check that out after you watch this episode or watch it tomorrow. Whatever you want to do, but go check that episode out. It is awesome. Other news. MC, do you want to talk about the Kickstarter that we backed?
Yes, we backed Beetle and Grimm's Murder on Titan A murder mystery game, and it just arrived. We're going to be building a crew of 6 people, which is going to be a mix of hosts and our Badmirals. This is going to be recorded, or it might be live. Who knows? We'll do this sometime after the conclusion of Strange New Worlds. So stay tuned for more information on that.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun. Yeah, go ahead, Giraffe.
I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who showed up this weekend at the Comic-Con Museum for the Star Trek and Doctor Who panel that I was on. It was really fun. I felt very loved. Thank you.
Aw, all the love for Giraffe. Was it fun?
Yeah. It was super fun. I was definitely out of my depth, but all my friends that were in the attendance were like, I have a question. And I was like, oh my God. And the exhibit, if you're in San Diego, the exhibit is incredible. It is so, so good. It's huge. And they have panels around Doctor Who every weekend until I think October. So
Nice.
Yeah, you were sending me some great pictures from it. Anybody who was upset that they weren't able to go to the Doctor Who experience in London before it shut down, this is basically the Doctor Who experience. So go.
Nice.
yeah, it's a moving exhibit, so traveling exhibit. So I don't know where they're gonna be after San Diego, but I think they're here until October.
Nice. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Was that recorded? Are people going to be able to see it or no?
No, they told me they were recording it, so I did not record it. And then they told us, oh, we did not record it.
Boo.
I am le sorry, désolé. I good faith. I thought it was gonna be recorded, but I'm gonna try to have Dr. Tiffany Cho, that was the other Vulcan that was with me on the panel, who is a neuroscientist, and she spoke about how your brain process going to space, and also how our brain would process time travel if it existed, and all the thing that happens to our understanding of space, time, and memory when we space travel. She's really interesting, and I'm gonna try to have her on Alternative Space.
Oh, very cool. Very
Nice.
cool. Check that out for sure. That's awesome. All right. So this happened literally at 8:30. So just over an hour ago. MC was like, hey, I designed something, and it was really fucking badass. She designed a really awesome 5-year mission shirt, kind of like almost Brady Bunch style, but with silhouettes. It was really cool. The colors are gorgeous. We have a whole 5-year mission collection now on the shop, strangenewpod.bigcartel.com. We have a shirt, we have a women's cut shirt, we have a mug, and we have a tote. Go check that stuff out right now. It's a really cool design, MC. You killed it, knocked it out of the park on this one. One of the biggest way, if you don't join our Patreon, and I try not to do like the give us money thing a lot, but if you but I'm going to today. Yeah, give us money. Because we get to then keep doing all the cool shit that you guys like to see. If you can't support us on Patreon, buy a shirt or buy something on our shop every now and then. It's a big help. We just purchased, this is news. We just purchased our table for Trek Long Island next year. So we will be back in 2020-26. 2020-26? 2020-26. That's a new one.
Boy, you bought far in advance.
I did. We're going for the next like million years. So yeah, we're doing that. So yeah, if you want to support us, either join our Patreon. It starts at $1 a month, or buy a tee, buy a mug, buy a tote. strangenewpod.bigcartel.com.
And if there's any way that you want to see me squee at a convention, is wear a shirt that I designed in front of me. I will squee for you.
That would be awesome. Did I miss anything? Any other news?
I think we
No?
covered
Next
everything.
convention is in September, so we have time.
There you go. Cool beans. Sweet. Let's do it. Let's get into the strange new loop. Why did that not go? Nothing's working tonight. Let's try that again. Let's get in to the strange new loop. There it is. All right. So this is not a complaint by any
Starts well.
means of imagination. This is not a complaint at all. I'm happy they didn't do it. But this would have been a good episode to introduce another TOS legacy character. Who would you have introduced here, and why?
This is a funny question, not because I thought that they should. I thought they were going to, because they had that Asian red shirt. I was like, is that Sulu?
Oh, okay. All right.
I just had this moment because, there was a quick shot of him and I was like, they're spending like a little bit of time with this guy. Are they going to reveal that this is Sulu?
Okay. All right. I dig
What are you
it.
talking about?
There's an injured guy in a red shirt.
Yeah. That she finds in the corridor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of this. um I thought that when they were in the Farragut and their CMO was dead, that they were going to introduce, I know who you're gonna say, so I'm not gonna say it, and I'm gonna say Bones.
So, yes. Before I go, in the chat, Jedi Cat says Sulu, Colin says Sulu, and then Eric, which is funny because our amazing writer who writes our weekly reviews, John, wrote in his review, "Where the hell is Gary Mitchell?" And Eric the Red wrote, "Lol, the other Mitchell, please." Yeah, Gary Mitchell's a great freaking option. Where is Gary Mitchell? Is Lieutenant Mitchell related to him? I want to know.
That'd be
I'm so
funny
into that.
because you know that Una, like, last name was Sheen Riley when they started Strange New World, and I was like, are we gonna get Riley? Like,
Yeah.
the Irish singing ensign that drives everybody nuts. But yeah, I think I thought you were gonna say Boys, Dr. Boys. Interesting.
Well, that's actually not my answer. You and I are actually on the same brain cell tonight. I was convinced that the minute Chapel said, just like you, Giraffe, "Where's your CMO?" Dead. And then you hear just Bones like yelling in the background some of his like bullshit. And I would have been like, I really don't want to see Bones in this show, but this would have been the spot. Like it was like set up perfectly for him.
Yeah, and I think,
When they didn't have Sulu, I thought that McCoy might have shown up in that scene. It was, I think, considering all three of us thought it, they did it on purpose. It was a total red herring.
well, I think also we're like kind of brainwashed by Star Trek 09, where McCoy becomes the de facto CMO
By
because
someone dying.
Doctor is dead. So I think it was just like, oh.
Yeah.
But I like they didn't do it, honestly.
No,
Like,
same. Colin writes, "I'll take you home again, Kathleen. I love
Yes!
Riley." Yes.
My man.
Love it.
Not again.
I've been wondering if we'll see Dr. Mark Piper, Jedi Cat writes, who I don't remember. Is that a random TOS doctor?
I don't remember.
I don't remember the name.
Mark Paper. I thought you were gonna say the doctor from The Cage.
Oh yeah. Also, Michael Kwan at this point, Chekhov is still pretty much in middle school, so probably not Chekhov. Yeah.
I like Gary Mitchell. That's, I think, if they were going to do a character in this, Gary Mitchell would have been the way to go.
I think that. Oh, sorry, Jeff. Go ahead.
If they had any balls, they would bring back Finnegan.
Finnegan. Yes. Oh man. I would really like to see Gary Mitchell. I think season 4, we have 6 episodes in season 5. They have to introduce him somehow. I feel like you can't not. But of course
I don't know, because it means that Benga is gone.
Does it?
Yeah, because he doesn't know Mbenga in TOS. When they met him, I don't think he has met him, if I remember well.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it's Spock who knows him.
Yeah.
He was like, Dr. Mbenga, used to be the CMO on the Enterprise.
All right.
And I don't think Bones knows him.
Oh, no, I was talking about Gary Mitchell.
Oh, Gary Mitchell.
Gary Mitchell, not Bones. Yeah. Good answers. Let's get into our review of this one. It is episode 306 of Strange New Worlds, The Sehlat Who Ate Its Tail. Our order tonight will go Giraffe, MC, followed by myself. Let's get into it. It is our cold open. Man, it's a red alert if there ever has been one. But before we get to the red alert, the episode does open with Jim's XO log, and he's bored out of his goddamn mind. He wants to push that final frontier. He wants to put his boots on the ground of a strange new world. And honestly, can we blame him a little bit? More Strange New Worlds and Strange New Worlds. We'll get into the red alert moment in a second, but what do we think about Jim's mood here, Giraffe?
Crack me up. He's really a brat. Like, the guy is bored on a fucking spaceship. Please. Please. I really like that cold open because I felt there was a lot of little nudges to explain the character of Kirk that we see in TOS, that is a way more mature, way more versed, way more, like just at ease in the chair than young Kirk we see here. the fact that he was the first officer of a Vulcan captain is very interesting to me.
It is
very interesting to me because she's the one who taught him the pretty chess. So there's a little things like this where we see that he's akin to Vulcan culture, most probably because he served under a Vulcan captain as his first captain, basically. I like that. I like the, it was like so close to say risk is our business. And I was like, do it, say it. But yeah, I like the little bratish thing that he has going on where he just wants to go. It's also what the Kirk we see in Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah.
Who's bored. And we see him also in The Wrath of Khan. Like, he gets bored. And I recognize an ADHD queen when I see one. I'm like, yes, one of us. But no, I like that it just is a more raw and less defined character than what we see Kirk become later in TOS. I thought it was well done.
Agreed. Totally agree. Eric with the Red said the same thing. Very reminiscent of Star Trek Beyond's opening. I know Dana said it in our Discord earlier. Very, this had a lot of like shades of Beyond. MC, what'd you think about this?
I mean, I was absolutely thinking that too. Granted, I'm usually thinking about Star Trek Beyond. But I think Wesley's Kirk is like the perfect middle ground between Shatner and Pine because he does kind of have that young punk bratishness going on, but it is a lot more measured than Pine's was. And I really like that because he should have that in this reality where he was raised by his father and he wasn't as rebellious and he did properly go through the academy. He is much more institutionalized. So he's respecting the chain of command, but he's still going to, speak up to power about things that he wants to do that might not be the smartest things. So I like it. I think they are really working Kirk well in that they're not going overboard on the cliched, stereotypical version of Kirk where he's all cowboy and everything, because he is willing to like get messy and do things that aren't the smartest, but still like it's not like he was going to go against the captain.
No.
So it is really nice that there's a lot of people who think that's what Kirk is, but I mean, we were talking about Gary Mitchell before. Gary Mitchell called him a pile of books with legs. So Kirk's kind of a nerd who does what he's told, except when it comes to the Kobayashi Maru. But
MC, you said, oh, sorry, go ahead, Giraffe.
No, I was going to say also, it's like, for me, it's kind of like fan service done right, where basically it's not a redo of things that they've already done with Kirk, but like it's kind of like adding to his character. Like the fact that he doesn't understand star dates cracked me up.
What is the star date? That delivery was so good.
If you've watched U.S., none of the star dates make any sense. And I like that it's like, once he's captain, he's just making up number. Why the fuck not? And I'm like, yes. Or just doesn't remember the date. And I find that it doesn't change anything to the episode. It is not something that they've done before, but it adds a little like je ne sais quoi to the character.
Yeah. MC, you said that this is a more like, it's like a good measure between Chris Pine and Shatner. Could you say this was a measure of a man? Sorry, I was trying to really work that one in there. I'm really sorry. I had to.
Yeah, do it to yourself.
I'll do it.
Get off
And we
my
had a
bridge.
full chat, only like throwing puns at each other. So
Yeah, I needed to just get that one out. Let's go into the, Jim, what's great about this too, right, is that he's bitching and moaning in his log, not being insubordinate about being bored. Well, things get a lot more exciting for him really quickly when the planet the Farragut is investigating literally blows up in front of him. Multiple injuries on the bridge, including the captain, and all of a sudden, Jim is in command. What did we think just about that portion of the cold open, Giraffe?
I herald his beginning. I herald your end. Herald Galactus. I was like, what the fuck is going on with planet exploding left and right? Like, I legit thought, I was like, wait, what the fuck am I watching? If you have not seen the Fantastic Four or never read
Do
the
it.
It's so good.
I don't think it's a spoiler. Read the comic
It's
books.
not.
They're old.
It's not a spoiler.
But I was like, oh, planet exploding. And I was already in the beyond kind of mood. So I was like, oh, 9, okay. I liked that he's like kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like every time he wants to do something, something goes horribly wrong. Like, let's go to the planet explodes. I love the whole scene. I thought it looked very cool. And also that is not at all what I expected to happen. So I was kind of taken aback. I love that at the end of the cold open, you don't see what he's seeing, but you see just the dark. And I thought it's a good classic sci-fi cold open, you know? Is it something we've never seen before? No. But is it cool? Yeah. And I loved how everybody just got thrown around. Never get a seat belt. Why? Why would you get a seat belt?
Only in the Kelvin verse.
And the old one in the old ship also, not the new ones. But yeah, it was such a classic to like Star Trek scene with like all hands on, brace for it, and everybody just flies. Poor captain. Poor captain.
Poor Varel. Poor Varel.
Varel. Yeah. But also the character design looked cool. She looked very cool.
She did. I liked her look quite a bit.
Mhm.
Yeah. MC?
Yeah, that was my main thought in this beginning is Pharrell, I think, has my favorite Vulcan hair ever. It's just wonderful because it does have that Vulcan kind of feel to it, but also feels a little punk rock. So I like to think that she's a little bit of a rebel as a Vulcan, which is maybe why she wants Kirk for her first officer.
It's maybe also the only era of Star Trek where Vulcan captains are not dick.
Yeah, right.
That's, yeah.
So good for Kirk.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he likes Vulcans.
Yeah. And this beginning, I immediately went to, I didn't think Galactus. I really should have. I need to see that again because that was such a good movie. But I thought Death Star.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
And I was like, what's going on? It was a very exciting opening. And it was a little funny that Kirk just minutes ago was just like, we got to get on the ground. And then there's no more ground. And I mean, we knew that there was going to be an episode this season where Kirk took command. We didn't know if it was going to be on the Enterprise or if it was going to be on the Farragut. We had been debating that, I believe.
No, I
And
knew all those things were on the Farragut. Come on. I get to be right twice this season at least. Well, okay. Actually, hold on. Giraffe's already correcting me. I thought this was the big Captain
Obsession.
Garrett. Yeah. So I was wrong about that, but I was right about the Farragut. Sorry.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a really, really nice way to set up this episode.
Yeah, no, it really was. I love the action. I love exactly what Giraffe said about not seeing what he sees. And much like Jedi Cat, you guys thought, 09, you thought Death Star, maybe a little bit of Galactus. I thought Doomsday Machine. I thought they were going to do Doomsday. I really did. It's cool what they ended up doing. I'm not mad because that really fucks with canon a bit again. So maybe good that wasn't it, but that would have been really cool on the other hand. But like, how many times have we said this season and a bit of last season, like how cinematic this show is, and sometimes the budget looks like it's movie budget. It really did. And I really was impressed with the makeup, the sets, the CG, all of it. It was so good. Let's move on to the A plot, which is Enterprise to the rescue. It seems that Enterprise is always right where it needs to be at any given time. Right after the credits break, Enterprise comes in, phasers blasting some asteroids out of the way, and the rescue team beams aboard. It's Spock and co. It's Spock, Scotty, La'an, Chapel, and Uhura. And Scotty goes right to engineering. Chapel goes to sickbay, where we thought maybe we might get bones. And Jim makes contact with Pike. It seems like it was a massive ship that did it, as La'an put it, the destroyer of worlds. Before Enterprise can beam the rest of Farragut aboard, because Pike's like, okay, everybody just needs to come aboard the Enterprise. Farragut's limping. The massive ship just devours. It makes contact. It devours Pike and company. What did we think about this moment as the ship warps away with Enterprise inside of it, Giraffe?
I like the idea of like the monster at the edge of the map, which is a very, you know, interesting ethnocentric vision of the universe. There's this meme, I think I sent it to you, where like Starfleet means Romulans, and I was like, we're a Starfleet. We live in the Alpha Quadrant. You're Romulan. You live in the Beta Quadrant. And they're like, whoa, rude. You know, like it's just like this idea that everything around the Federation is kind of like terra incognita, you know, when we know the Romulans are just here. There's like a bunch of people just around, but okay. But I like this idea that it kind of resembled those like giant man-eating whales that you see on the old maps, you know, that are like...
Here there be monsters.
Yeah. The ship design kind of cracked me up. I was like, I thought it was kind of ridiculous. It had a mouth and like all this. I was like, okay. For me, it was something like between pirates, but right away I thought of the Lower Decks episode with the Paglet.
Yeah.
It's like finale of season 1, right?
Finale of season 1. Yep.
Yeah. Same thing. The grapplers like grabbing the ship, and I was like, oh no, don't go to warp. But yeah, the ship design cracked me out. I think it took me out. Like it just like made me kind of like, eh. And I also immediately thought of Reavers from Firefly.
Yeah.
These like kind of like made up or, you know, like wonky, weird ass thing. So yeah, it was a lot of like things that I had already seen on top of making me laugh because it looked ridiculous. So I didn't take the whole like it ate the Enterprise very seriously because like the thing has a map. How serious can it be?
Jedi Cat says the scavenger ship looked like a kaiju.
Yeah, kind of.
A little bit. Yeah.
But then also I'm like, where did it go through the planet? I had so many questions. I was just confused. It was a ship. But yeah, it looked well done. It just looked ridiculous to me because it had a mouth and like kind of a skull. I don't know. I was like, what in the Peter Pan is going on?
Wow, making Peter Pan references with Alien Earth out now? Come on.
I do not watch Alien.
I know you're not going to watch it. It's so good though.
I need to watch it.
These things are too gross for me. I don't do gross. I don't.
I know. It's really good, but don't watch it. No.
But yeah, I was like, oh, also the other thing that cracked me up, and I think I was texting you at the same time. I was like, for sure, the only ship around is the Enterprise. It
wouldn't be Star Trek if it wasn't.
Again, very Pac-led. Oh, it's the
Enterprise.
It's another Enterprise. So I literally thought they were doing the Lower Deck episode, like, but serious.
Yeah. MC.
First of all, I just would like to breathe a huge sigh of relief for an episode that has no romantic subplots in it. Just none at all. Just absolutely wonderful. I mean, of course the Enterprise is going to be the one that comes in.
No, I know.
You know, I'm not surprised at all. I do have to completely agree with Giraffe on almost everything. I immediately thought of the Reavers because, of course, they're also saying it's like people who live on the edge of space, you know, talk about, you know, the devourer of worlds. And I'm like, wow, that sounds like the Reavers to me.
Even the Klingons are afraid of them. I'm like, Reavers.
Yeah. Even the Gorn are afraid of them. Yeah. So very, very Reavers. And the ship, I was actually, for a moment, did not realize it was a ship. I thought it was a giant space shark or something. I don't want to say a space whale. Yeah, something like that. Because it did have a big mouth that it used to swallow the Enterprise. And I'm like, oh.
It did have teeth. Yeah.
So we're totally going for like a Pinocchio situation here.
Oh my God, yes. But that's cool too. Yes.
No, I mean, I'm not criticizing.
No, I know. It's just I
loved
didn't think about that until now, but it really is. That's so cool. Yeah.
I agree with Jesse. Like it is a human skull.
It is,
And then
yeah.
they were like, "What do you mean they were human? Why did they have a human skull on their giant ship? Anybody? Anybody?" Like anyway. Thank you, Jesse. Good notice.
I have to say, the minute, and we already talked about this plot point, so we're gonna skip it. But the minute that Scotty shows the scan of the ship, saying that it's made up of used tech from other species, and it showed a D7, I was like, oh, it's a Pac-Led episode. I was like, oh, we're doing Pac-Leds. That's cool. Like Pac-Leds before TNG, like the clump ship. So I do want to ask, because I don't know. And maybe Jean's in the chat. She could tell us. Do you think this is a nod a little bit, a darker nod to that? Or was this just a reused plot point a little bit?
I think it was reused but planned.
Yeah. I
don't
kind of
think
lean
they
that
would
way
nod
too.
on
But
anything. Like I don't think so. I think there was like kind of a I think there was kind of a point, if we take the episode in this entirety, of like, you know, being greedy and being
Right.
destroying and like overusing the environment. I think there was a point there. But I was very like unable to see the point because the thing had a mouth. So I was like, okay. I do think it's just, you know, it's a convergent evolution.
yeah.
They just ended up having the same ID, and I don't think I don't think it was an homage or something. Or
Right.
they would have done Pac-Leds.
Jean just mentioned the Drukmani too from Lower Decks. Like they were scavengers
Yeah,
as
that is
well.
true,
So
yeah.
yeah, like 100%. Yeah. MC, did you want to touch on that, or are you good?
Yeah. I did think that it felt like the Pac-Leds by way of the Borg, which might sound weird, because there was just something in the way everybody talked about these people, about how they consumed and just took everything, that reminded me of the Borg assimilation, particularly the first couple of appearances of the Borg, when it was more about assimilating tech than it was about assimilating other species. So more like your Q-Who, or I think that's the episode of the Borg, and I can't remember. So I never thought it was actually the Pac-Leds, because they were way too scary to be the Pac-Leds.
That's fair.
And I mean, just for convergent evolution works very well in universe. Out of universe, there's only so many plots, and I think what they're doing is less important than everything else that's around it. So it's not like they just completely wholesale copied a previous episode.
Right. And that's fair. I want to move on to something that I really can't wait to talk about, because throughout this episode, we get the very beginnings of the relationship between Jim and Scotty. And it's so good. It's just so good. It shows how these became, the two of them became whatever they are in TOS and the movies. It's like they're kind of friends, but they're also assholes to each other. Like it's great. Jim literally, you know, is pushing Farragut's nacelles to stop working despite his best efforts. And at one point, like, Scotty calls them paperweights. You know, it's just like, I love seeing the beginnings of this relationship. Giraffe, you were texting me a bit about it. What did you think about this?
So I want to just like back up a little bit. Like, I love how the relationship are portrayed between each other, because they all have some dimension of relationship. So when they arrive, Kirk goes, "Mr. Spock, what is it? Ensign Uhura, Lon."
Lon, yeah.
And I was like, this bitch doesn't get like her full name, because we know what's going on. So that already like was a little like hint, and that cracked me up. And then Scotty being on the Farragut and seeing the state of that ship was so funny to me, because I now have the headcanon that Scotty stays on the Enterprise for the sole reason that he has seen what Kirk has done to the Farragut, and he refuses to let him do the same thing to the Enterprise. And we know that's what he does, because look at the Enterprise in Strange New World and look at the Enterprise in TOS. Look at the state of that ship. Huh? Like, doesn't even have a bar anymore. Like, what is going on there? They're all eating like food cubes. Like, Scotty's hanging.
Scotty is literally the duct tape and super glue that kept that ship even like the ounce of what it is.
He literally was like, that man cannot be left alone on a ship. This is too dangerous. But it cracked me up because also all the thing when he's like, acting captain.
What do we
Not
call
yet
you?
captain. What do I call you?
Sir.
Sir. I think it's a great rewrite of the character of Scotty with, you know, with that kind of attitude not being linked to alcohol, but just have him being a catty bitch. And I like this because that makes him an actual, like, that gives him an actual dimension as a character that is not due to him being kind of a drunk Scotsman,
Right.
you know? And I like this. It gives him more layers, and also just a character that's gonna speak his mind, which is nice. But you see why he's Pelia's student also.
Yes, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
But I thought the dialogue was very funny, and even with all the tension and all the, you know, they don't know really where they sit because he's acting captain, but he's also not captain. He's not their captain. I think it was the conversation and dialogue like reflected all these dimensions of status and friendship and knowledge of each other very well.
Agreed. MC?
So, Julian, you said that you'd gotten 2 things right. I'm going to say that you got 3 things right because
Ooh.
judging from this
Stop.
conversation between Scotty and Kirk, you are definitely right about Kirk being the reason why Scotty is driven to drink by TOS.
I mean, it's got to be.
I mean, at the end of this episode, I was expecting Scotty to pick up a drink because, my God, he was just driven to just the end of his rope in this. But it was wonderful. Martin Quinn is killing it. He is so good as Scotty. And y'all know how I feel about Scotty in TOS. So the fact that he has made me like Scotty so much is such a testament to his acting. That's not to say that I don't like Jimmy Doohan. Jimmy Doohan was wonderful, but I just hated TOS Scotty. And
sorry. Yeah.
I think that Martin Quinn is doing such a wonderful job, and seeing this dynamic, this very baby relationship between Jim and Scotty, knowing how close they're going to get, because we're getting both that and we're also getting, and I'm sure we'll talk about this later, Kirk and Spock,
Yep.
because we saw them shake hands once, but this is the first time we're going to see them converse. So seeing all of these, like, because it was the trinity of Kirk, or I guess quartet, the Kirk, Spock, McCoy, and Scotty in TOS. It was the 4 of them together. And then let's leave everybody out who's a minority, except for Chekhov. But I don't know. I guess a Russian is a Russian in the 60s is a minority.
It's a good point.
Well, I like how
Yeah.
they added Uhura to that. Like, they're slowly putting her into that relationship.
And that dynamic, yeah.
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 Not Chappelle, though, but definitely Uhura, which, you know, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so much love in the chat for this. Jesse writes, I was waiting for I'm giving it all she's got, which would have fit
So
very
was I.
well here. Jedi Cat writes, Wesley and Quinn really clicked in their scenes together. Scotty does have some of the best lines in the episode, says Eric the Rev. And then, you know, our friend Josh from Legal Geeks. There was some beautiful Jeffries Tube action in this episode. There was lots of Jeffries Tube. I actually really like that moment, especially where Scotty is just talking about like not pushing the ship to warp. And Jim's like, but I've got faith in you. It's that manipulative thing that he's going to do for
I
the
was
next
gonna
like
say,
60 years. He's like, but you're my miracle worker, Mr. Scott. If anybody could do it, it's you. It's you. And he's like, ah, you bastard. You know,
I love how he laughs when Kirk goes like, we're gonna go after them, and he's like, you're not going anywhere.
Not in this heap. I loved their dynamic this entire episode. Giraffe, you mentioned it, you know, about not being quite sure where to sit. It's a small moment and we don't need to talk about it a lot, but I do want to mention it nonetheless. There is the moment where we see Jim Kirk sit in a captain's chair for the first time. It's like that moment where we see Uhura and Spock and Kirk all at the table in season 2. What did we think about this small moment?
I liked it because I feel those are moments that were always kind of important for the character growth. Like we've seen it in Discovery with Burnham, who didn't want to sit in the chair. And then when finally she sits in this chair, as captain, it's like an important moment. Also with what's his face? Season 5. What's the name of the other captain?
Rayner, Captain Rayner.
Rayner, who doesn't want to sit in the chair. And there's this whole thing. So there's also like sitting in the chair, like, it's easy when you have the con because the captain is taking a bath or God knows what. It's different when you have the con and there's nobody else.
Yeah, it's your ship.
It's your decision. And I feel that's what the episode was about. But I think it was cute because like we see him in a Space Adventure Hour, like sitting in the chair and destroying it, So it was kind of a nice nudge. Are we going to talk about the conversation where they want to remove him from duty?
We are literally, that is our next talking point.
So I'll take it for later.
Yep.
In terms of the Kirk in the chair, again, I have to go Kelvin verse. I immediately was contrasting and comparing the two Kirks because we did have Kirk just brazenly sitting in the captain's chair while he's not captain, while Spock is captain.
Literally still a cadet.
Yeah. A cadet who's on probation too, and just sitting in the chair, just happy as you do. And then seeing the difference here where we have this Kirk who is in the middle of like a serious situation and he's the one in charge, and you can feel the weight of all of this on him because if he sits in that chair, then he's actually taking on all of this responsibility because he does seem to want to work things as a committee for a little bit until Spock's like, it's not our decision to make. And we see him, he's still feeling himself out as captain. He says that he's not good at making speeches while we know that
bullshit.
Kirk is wonderful at making speeches.
Yeah. There's a couple of talking points I want to talk about here in the chat. Michelle writes, Kirk sat in the chair and then the ship failed. That was some good comedy timing. It is perfect, right? Because it's this big hero moment. He pulls off, this is one of the rare moments where Wesley really like pulled the Shatner off. The way he taps on the chair and then crosses his legs, you're like, oh man, holy shit, it's Captain there go the paperweight in the cells. It was great comedy timing. I love that moment. But then this is the other thing. The lighting and Paul Wesley's Kirk mannerisms really clicked for me in this episode. Michelle said, yeah, like more and more, Paul Wesley is really making this character his own, much like I think it took Chris Pine a bit to do it when he finally got there and beyond. But like, this is more and more a Kirk that we are starting to be able to recognize. And when he sits in that chair and we are about to talk about this, comes out of, the ready room with Spock, it's like, yeah, that's Jim Kirk. And it's some really cool moments in this episode. Let's talk about this because Kirk, for lack of a better word, starts to lose it. He has to go clear his head when the crew are trying to give him ideas. And the folks at the Enterprise immediately discuss removing him from command. But Uhura goes to bat for him. And with that, we get the makings of what's going to be a very everlasting friendship. Spock giving Kirk a much needed pep talk, some great talking points about how badly Jim wants the chair, only to now squander the opportunity. Let's go into all this, Giraffe.
I love that Jim Kirk has been literally acting captain for 5 whole minutes and the crew was all ready to remove him from duty. Because I think he's been removed from duty more than any other captain in Star Trek. I think 4 times in TOS, in the Enterprise incident, in the Deadly Years, technically in Mirror, because literally Mirror Kirk comes in the Enterprise and Spock throws him in the brig immediately. Immediately. And I think the Enemy Within, and there's one more where they remove him from duty. And I'm just like, this man is unhinged. They know he's like ready to pop any time. And they're like, okay, who's throwing him into the brig? But it really cracked me up because like these guys stole the Enterprise at the beginning of season 2. You're like going to like judge that dude who's still doing his job? Please. I think it was a little bit out of pocket, but you know, the Enterprise is like in dire situation. They really want to save their ship, and they have to be under that dude who's not Enterprise crew. If he were not here, they would do their own thing to save their own crew. So I can understand like the kind of like clicky behavior they have. I liked Uhura going, you know, out on a limb to, you know, calm everybody because she's the one who knows him the best. Since what's the name of that
Lost
episode?
in Translation. Yeah.
Lost in Translation. Thank you. Because he trusted her when she was acting out of pocket. So I think it's a nice throwback. I feel this season has been good at acknowledging what happened in previous seasons, which is not what season 2 has done at all. So I like that. I like this little reference that we have since, you know, the start of the season. Last episode also had like nice references to season 1. So I thought it was neat. I thought it was a nice conversation. And again, dialogue that actually like make the character thicker and more layered, and also where we can see their relationship, and it's not only can we talk about our relationship, you know, but like actual persons that would discuss in a dire situation.
Yeah. Go ahead, MC.
Sorry, I'm going to keep on bringing up the Kelvin verse, but I feel
I don't have
like
the censor button readily available.
well, don't censor me because I have smart things to say.
I know you do.
I feel like with this episode that the writers might have actually watched Star Trek 09 and been, let's kind of make references to things that happened in that and have things go a different way, because obviously very similar situations with these young people who aren't on the Enterprise in this, they're on the Farragut, but like the whole talk about taking away Kirk's captaincy because they feel like he's emotionally or mentally compromised. It's very 09. And honestly, they were so out of line with doing it. I mean, they gave him 5 minutes to adjust to being captain. And I don't think what Kirk was saying was incorrect, because he was saying all of those options that he was being given really sucked and would have had a lot of people dying. And he did the Kirk thing of choosing the third option of like, no, we're going to save everybody. And clearly he was in the right because they're able to do it. And I did love that it was Uhura who was defending him with it, because as Giraffe said, they did have a relationship with one another. Well, this is the first time that Kirk and Scotty have met. And I don't even know what kind of relationship Chapel has with him. Have we
not together?
together?
No, not yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
And Spock literally just was introduced.
Yeah, they had a
they
drink
have
together or
drinks.
something.
Yeah, they had a drink. So yeah, but I mean,
It's not a friendship yet. Yeah.
And I feel like Spock in the whole situation, I don't think that he was being really pushy in terms of getting Kirk out of the
He
chair.
wasn't.
He was having a discussion, and he does go to speak to Kirk, and he's the one who kind of gets Kirk out of his head, and you got to be the captain, dude. So the fact that it's them fits really well with where everybody is at the time.
Mhm.
And I mean, obviously we talked at the beginning about how this is a backdoor pilot for a 5-year mission. So that's why they got La'an off the ship so quickly. But I do have to say, I'm really glad that they did get La'an off the ship, because I feel like if they had kept her in, it would have changed the dynamic so much, because of all of the relationship, Kirk, Spock, drama, whatever, that it would have changed the tenor of things too much, because with this, it was all about professionalism and about having a professional trust in people. And Also, a little bit of vibes of, I feel like I can trust you with this. So I think the fact that Kirk was not very secure in his command is one of the reasons why people weren't going along with him, because he was not exuding Captain Kirk yet.
Yeah. Chris in the chat brings out a really good point. It's good to see you, by the way, buddy. At least they talked about actually seeing if he was mentally compromised. They didn't work it like manipulating things to make him compromised, which was very smart. Like, part of the reason I like the scene a lot is the way that Chapel even responds. They're like, well, how would we even go about doing this? And Chapel's like, well, as the ranking medical officer, I have it within my ability. But like, I think she said something along the lines of, I don't know if we're there yet, you know? So like, I thought that was really well done. Another thing that I absolutely love about the scene, and I don't know if it's in this scene or not, but Nami's score really complements Kirk's journey here. There's a bit of a motif she uses from Wrath of Khan as a little nudge to be like, hey,
yes.
And it's so good. And I want to talk about Wrath of Khan because this is the Jim Kirk that Jim talks about himself in Search for Spock, right? You know, in Wrath of Khan, and about not liking to lose, right? You know, and Bones going on, this is the first man to beat the Kobayashi Maru, and Savick questions him, and David questions him. But like, this is who Kirk is. So I love that moment so much with that bit of nod with the music of like, I don't accept any option, you know? And yeah, he goes into his ready room to sulk a little bit, but then you get Spock and Giraffe. You brought up this great point, you know, about having a Vulcan captain, you know, earlier. I think so much of why Kirk is able to listen to Spock is because he has a Vulcan captain. And, you know, this show touches on sometimes, well, Vulcans can be jerks and this is the way they talk. But it's like, Kirk knows that Spock isn't like talking down to him. He's just trying to get through to him. And it's such a good conversation. And I love the fact that the episode title is worked into the scene with, like, we have a very similar saying, the Sehlat who ate its tail. It's just like they start to connect immediately, and it gives me goosebumps. And it's, man, this cast gels so well together. And I know not everybody wants it. And I see some of the hate online about possibly doing a year one, but man, I want to see this cast explored more on the Enterprise. I really, really do, because it was so good in this episode.
The use of the 3D chess was also
so
good because it's a wonderful reference to the original series, but it's not just fan service, because you do have Kirk who is setting up the board again, because, I mean, you'd think that they would put magnets or something on it, because, I mean, these ships get knocked around all the time, so how are they going to keep an ongoing game going? But the fact that he is trying to set the board back up and he's talking about Varel, what he thought her next move would be in terms of the chess game. And this is the only way that Kirk can actually express his doubt of himself, in that he's trying to figure out what Varel would do in this situation as captain. And basically Spock is telling him, you got to do what you're going to do. So,
yeah.
Which is interesting because, like, when Varel is like at the beginning, the cold open, he's like, she never does anything risky. She doesn't, she's kind of getting a decision. And he's like, what would she do? And the answer to him is not running back to the Federation, which is interesting because then he has a kind of biased view of his captain. So that just, I thought it was an interesting like take on how you see power once you are yourself in the lead, you know?
And the wonderful Spock, I will make sure you're demoted.
Oh my God, I have that in ally. I promise to demote you at the earliest opportunity. Oh,
I mean, that's just like one of the most perfect TOS Spock lines, because it's just, he's such a catty bitch.
It was so like Nimoy embodied in that moment. I don't like to compare these guys like often, but that was like, oh my God, it's Spock being a dick to Kirk in that like Spock Kirk way. It was just perfect. Big Kirk pep talk time. Even though he doesn't like to make big speeches, apparently, which I called bullshit on already, he makes a big speech, right? Asking all the people who will one day be his crew for ideas and a plan. What do we think about this moment? And as we just talked about, I promised to emote you at the earliest opportunity. It was so good. What do we think about this moment, Giraffe?
I mean, at this point, to be honest, I was just like, okay, let's get going.
Let's go, yeah.
I got it. It was very well done. They're gonna be in for it. They're gonna find a solution. But it was a very, again, TOS way to like address the crew dynamic. And I think it was well done in the idea that my main problem has been like episodes of Strange New World doing literally what they've other Trek has already done. So it was like, this is kind of a classic episode of Star Trek, but it's kind of the first one that they do without like literally copying another plot. So I was, well, I mean, it was a little bit of the lower deck, but I mean, you see what I mean.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's like the situation was like not exactly, oh, this is that episode from TNG, you know? So I feel like it was interesting to see them just like playing the shoes a little bit and kind of doing a modern tech on, you know, that these scenes that we've seen literally in every single episode of TOS. You keep talking about this year one thing. It's making me very stressed, but yeah, it was a good actor work. But at this one, I was also let's
go.
What's well? Also, those scenes are all disconnected by what happens on the Enterprise,
Right?
So they were not on like one thing. So maybe it was less of a hassle for me to see all of this. But I feel at that point I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
you know, I was like, they're set. Let's go.
Yeah, MC.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk he's always great with a pep talk. We love a Kirk summation speech. And the fact that, you know, he's not good at it yet. And it's like Boimler when he's practicing it with the red shirts. It's
That's
something
too many
grow
logs.
into.
Too many logs.
So it's a fantastic moment. And just that seeing these people come together, and while it's not complete yet, we're still missing a few people. It's wonderful. I mean, I talked about in our 5-year mission, year one podcast, that I wasn't really sure if I actually wanted it. See, I just want it if we can actually call it 5-year mission, because I want to be
You want the royalties, right? That you absolutely will not get.
Yeah, right. But wasn't sure about it. But seeing this, which is obviously a backdoor pilot, really kind of eases me into it, which is, I think, what they needed to do for the audience, because I think Paramount is probably okay with the idea because they do want a new Star Trek series, and obviously Strange New Worlds was doing very, very well. So they're going to want to replace it with something. But showing them, look, the audience really responded very well to this episode, and half of it was introducing this crew, is, I think, something to really kind of ease things in. So I liked it, and it is making me feel more secure in that idea of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's move on to the B plot, which is being in the belly of the beast, the Enterprise, all like, you know, whatever you want to call it. On board Enterprise, absolutely nothing is working. They assume that they've been boarded. Each member, La'an, Ortegas, Mitchell, Una, they tell a story about how each of them has heard something, a rumor that like kind of transcends all the different species and, you know, people who have been, you know, in this universe, about a destroyer of worlds. What do we think about this ship having legend across the galaxy, Giraffe?
I don't know. I feel it's fun in a pirate, you know, story where people don't have communication and don't have video and don't have ways of recording and all this. I felt that it was kind of weird that in a place where everybody has spaceship and ways of record stuff, it was a legend. I felt Firefly went way better at it with the idea that people know Reavers exist. They don't want to meet them. They know what they do. Nobody really lived to tell the
They
tale.
don't. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're like, there's half myth, half legend, but it's not a question. It is a thing. Because, yeah, people report, like, and find the result of their attacks. But imagine a ship blowing up planets and it's a legend. It's just kind of like, for me, it was kind of weird. I would have preferred that they had gone the Firefly way, where
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, it's that thing. We never kind of like, the Federation maybe never ran into it or never had actual contact with it, but they must have heard about it. Like, there's no way that it's just a legend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Blowing up planet is kind of drastic. Like, when you show up and the planet is gone, you're like, what happened?
True. No, absolutely true.
I think it was a fun concept. It was just like, in the Star Trek universe, for me, it was kind of like out of box, a little bit, a little bit weird.
Fair. MC?
I could totally understand where Giraffe is coming from on that. I do wonder, I mean, while they did call it the Destroyer of Worlds, I'm wondering if the blasting a planet apart instantly is maybe a new thing for them.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think they said specifically that they blasted away planets, just that they, like scavenged like shit from planets and ships, and people disappeared and stuff like that. And obviously what they're doing is they're cannibalizing these ships and planets to add to their ship. So I think that might be what was going on. I do think having the people they chose to know was really smart, because it is the wilds of space. So we're not going to have Earth Boy Pike know about it. And instead you're going to have La'an, who lived on the outskirts of space, and Una, who lived on the outskirts of space, and Ortegas, who was in the Klingon War. And Mitchell, I just love when Mitchell has lines, and the fact that she had heard it at the Academy was great. Always give Mitchell more stuff to do. Like, bring her into the main cast for next season. I don't give a shit.
They need
Bring
to.
her
I feel like they're inching closer to doing it. I do.
Do we know
I
her
mean,
first
she's
name?
in
Jenna.
Jenna.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, I hope she's not gonna be the poor man Gary Mitchell.
Yeah, right. No, yeah, Jenna Mitch.
She's in like every episode this season, isn't she?
Yeah, just about.
He has a good agent.
Yeah.
Good job. Go get the lines.
Yes. I want to talk about Pelia, right? It informs Pike and Co. that the umbilical that's attached to the Enterprise is tied into all the systems and is pumping in this toxic gas, because I guess this is what they do. Erica can't hotwire the ship, which is a cool moment. Like, can starships even do that? But I like seeing her like fucking around with the wires. Una wants to use their eyes to navigate, which I really like this moment, because both Ortegas and Mitchell are like, that's an absolutely horrible idea. Like, and also I kind of love it, 'cause I don't like talking down to people, but I feel like Ortegas and Jenna are like, and a little bit on purpose, talking down to Una, because it's like, girl, you should know better. You used to pilot this ship. Like, this is a bad idea. Like, you've been the helmsman. So, and then, yeah, they explain that that's a bad idea. We finally see Pelia's quarters, and y'all can go off on these because they are wild. Then they talk about putting phone lines on the Enterprise so that they can communicate. Ortegas actually calls the phone a personal massager, which I think is a first for Star Trek.
No.
Mariner.
Personal use tribbles.
That's right, Mariner. And the smile on Mbenga about the whole situation, and Pelia. I'm skipping ahead so much here because it's all kind of big one giant moment. And Pelia just being a roadie for the Grateful Dead was also a mood. What did we think about all of this with Pelia and the phones and all of it?
I had to Google that. I didn't know what a roadie for the dead
Oh my God.
meant ever. So I Googled it. I was like, oh, okay, that's fun. Again, B plot was way more interesting for me than A plot. Yet again. I thought what's going on in the Enterprise is just fascinating. I love these episodes where these plots where it takes the whole crew knowledge to work something out, and there's not like, you know, the one hero moment or the one person that's gonna find the way, you know. I like that they all bring their little expertise and they all work together. I love that Ortegas is rewiring the Enterprise a la Boimler, because in those old scientists, they're all like just turning away, and he's like with all the cables. That's also, oh, in which episode is it that Uhura rewires the Enterprise with Spock in TOS?
Oh yeah.
It's not the Enterprise incident.
Is it? I don't think it's the
No,
Enterprise.
it's definitely
No,
not.
it's not.
He's busy trying to
watched
get
it
tail.
I watched that
recently.
episode 17,000
Yeah.
times. And it's not in this one. But anyway, I don't remember. But like, it's kind of a classic. Also, like, there's a bunch of wires because why the fuck not? And they all work together. I love that. Pelia, when anybody that has entered in one of my hotel rooms during convention knows that these would be my quarters. Like, type B, what is it, like type B queen, like that mess. And we saw that in Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, is it?
Yeah.
Where she steals she has a Spock's
Helmet, not the helmet.
Yeah.
No,
She has like his instrument somehow. Like she stole stuff from everybody, and she has like a bunch of random paintings like waiting in a corridor. And I'm like, yes, that woman is connected. That woman doesn't care for the laws. That woman has the transporter guy on a payroll. She does what she wants. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Imagine, Starfleet, you have like a 5,000-year-old like woman. You're like, yeah, bring your carpets. Sure. But at the meantime, and you know, at the same time, they're like being a problem to Tuvok because he's lighting candle on Voyager. And I'm like,
and Spock's playing his music too loud. It's like just against Vulcans, man.
But no, I love the whole thing with the phones. It makes no sense that they wire the phone to a spaceship. Like, no sense at all. It's like the same thing than in their Enterprise incidents where they just have that giant ball and they stole from the Romulan and just like plug it in.
Boop, plug your device.
Works. So also with the joystick, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know in the TOS what in the TOS is going on, but it was fun. I really like that back plot with this is problem A, this is problem B, how we're going to share the task, how we're going to find a solution. Lan and Pike, we're going to speak after, I suppose. But that was all fun. And you know what? I like having Una doing things. Like, we barely saw her doing season 2. Like, we barely saw Ortegas also. Like, I mean, no, except for like I fly the ship, but you know what I think about this. But I love that everybody has expertise and they just have lines and they converse, and that, you know, it's episode that passed the Bechdel test where women are like doing things. Yeah.
Dude, like
yeah,
Una gets like the big moment in this episode too, right? Because like they can't get the ship out of there, and she like vents the thing. It's like, it's fucking cool.
And still the humor of like, you're hitting the wall.
Yeah.
Because somebody would have said that, even if you're escaping, like, so like, you're hitting the wall. No, I think it was a very fun B plot. I really like it.
Yeah. MC?
I need to screenshot or at least like go still image on Pelia's quarters to actually like see what's in the background, because they put in so much detail. The one thing that really jumped out at me is the Andy Warhol of Pelia was just so great. I mean, a little cliche, but it's cliche for a reason. And I love seeing Errol Kane done in a Warhol. And I just know that the set dressers just had so much fun putting all of that crap into Pelia's quarters, and I want to actually see what's in there. And the chat has mentioned the Kit Kat clock, which is what exactly they're called. They're called Kit Kat clocks. I have 2 of them in my house.
Oh, that's awesome.
One of them's a guy and one of them's a girl. I actually need to get them working again because the eyes don't move anymore. So I need to rebalance something in it. But it's such a great thing. The fact that she has Ataris
Oh my God,
But
the
yeah,
Atari was so
Atari, yeah.
awesome.
And she references Space Invaders. At least I'm pretty sure that's what she was referencing.
Yeah, I think she was 100%.
Something like that. Yeah.
Or like
'Cause
Galaga or
Yeah, Galaga maybe. I love Space Invaders though. That was my jam back in the 80s, which just, I'm aging myself by saying that. Granted, I was like 5, but still, I didn't have an Atari. I had an Intellivision, and I played Space Invaders, and it was wonderful. And the personal massager, they picked the perfect phone for that because, it kind of did look like it could be a personal massager. It was a very feminine looking phone. And the smile on Ortega's face.
Hey, they don't have holodeck, okay? So,
that is true.
A girl gotta do.
Yeah, it's like, why, Erica, why do you think Pelia'd be giving you a personal massager right now? Like,
because it's Pelia.
Would that be? I would not be surprised.
I wouldn't either. Not for Pelia.
I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, Pelia thinks that you need to relax. But yeah, no, it's so great. The roadie for the dead would have been fine on its own, but then following that up with Erica saying your species can communicate with the dead.
That line was okay. That line had to be like thrown in there for all the people that aren't also going to understand that reference, like giraffe, because it's like, oh man.
But that's why I Googled it, because I'm like,
exactly.
I see it's a reference to something and I don't get it. So I was like, I hope it's gonna give me an answer, and yeah, it gave me right away. I was like, oh, okay, makes sense. I don't understand why she would be wiring phone while doing that, but for sure.
I think she was maybe referencing wiring like speakers.
That would make sense.
That's too many steps in referencing that I to start with.
Oh man,
I may have worked as a roadie a couple of times.
Hey, this was all delightful. Pelia's quarters. I will say this is not the last time we'll see them again. So that's exciting. I love them. I love the phones. Listen, can you hotwire a starship with rotary phones and 1980s phones? Why not? It still has wires apparently, and Boimler was able to like make it work with 24th century technology. So why can't 1980s and 90s phone? Yeah, exactly.
Can't even charge my phone on like any random cable, but they can rewire.
They totally can. It was great. Oh man, I love that they made the noise. I really wish there was a busy signal somewhere in there. And I do love the moment. I do love the moment of Una getting to like, the gag of Erica hitting the wall and her literally just like venting some air out. Like I see a lot like, well, Una's not getting a lot to do this season. I'm like, but if you go back and watch every single episode, Una is always doing something in them. Is she the like main focal point of the plot? No, but she's doing a lot. Go back and watch. Una is like pretty prominent this season, and I love seeing it. What are you gonna say, MC?
I do think that they were missing a couple of phones. Like they should have had like one of those Sports Illustrated football phones.
Okay, but honestly, they should have had the Enterprise phone too. Like it just would have made no sense, but I would have loved to see it still.
I didn't realize that there was an Enterprise phone.
I had the Enterprise phone.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I did.
Had the Garfield phone.
And the saucer section was the receiver.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let's talk about Pike and La'an. Pike and his strike team encounter the beings on the ship. We lose another red shirt 2 episodes in a row. Not celebrating death, but red shirts are dying. Go check out Red Shirts from IDW Comics, by the way. With Pike being visibly upset about losing another member of his crew, which I think is a powerful moment. La'an says that even the Gorn fear these guys, apparently. Forcing is maybe not the right word, but Pike then decides to put his phaser on kill. La'an uses a precious bottle of booze, which I thought was a little bit like not the right tone for this episode, but nonetheless, to light the big guys on fire. And then Pike and La'an take the fight to them. They bust that like power converter John thing that was like making them invulnerable. And then they killing one, only for one to then hesitate killing Pike. This is a lot to unpack. Did you suspect anything here? And what do you think about the Pike La'an team up, Giraffe?
I loved it. I thought it was fun. I'd rather had La'an doing that being on the Farragut, honestly. I think it was badass. I just like the back and forth into that shit. Like people just running around in corridors while like they're like randos like attacking. Again, very beyond. Very, very beyond. With like those spike ship that are kind of embedded into the Enterprise and then they come out of it. I thought like it was like, yeah, and like running around the ship. I liked that. Well, poor red shirt. I don't understand how like they didn't know she was dead. I was like, you're carrying a dead body, you'll feel it, my man. Like, I like that the scene takes place into the bar and they're destroying the bar. I was confused about the booze too. I was like, why do you have so many flammable stuff on a spaceship?
You gotta hope the Enterprise has good fire suppression systems, right? But they don't believe in OSHA, so maybe not.
But like, I suppose like the air is pumped full of oxygen, so like that little flame. I was like, okay. I love the design of the. Do we know their name? The Reavers.
The Reavers. Let's just call them the Reavers. I like it.
They're Reavers.
I don't think they had a name, right? They didn't have a name.
No, they didn't.
I don't think so.
I mean, they're humans. That's
the bad human guys. So I love the design of the Reavers. I thought it was again very Packletty. Let's be honest. Like the whole design of the thing, I thought it was badass. I would have like less running around corridors. There was a lot of corridor action. But I thought it was a good action scenes. And also it's a bit, like Star Trek Die Hard. And I like when you're like running around alone on a ship, like trying to not get killed. Everybody had their shoes. So doesn't qualify as Die Hard, but pretty close.
Yeah. Yep. MC?
I mean, I love Doctor Who, so I love people running around in darkened corridors all the time because that's all Doctor Who is. And speaking of Doctor Who, the design of the Reavers actually reminded me of the background Jadoon from Smith and Jones. Because, I mean, they could only afford to make one with the rhino head that actually moved. So the rest of them just had like these huge helmets that are like black. So they're just like these huge, massive things just like in full armor. And that's kind of the feel that I got from these guys. And I really liked it because they did come off as very threatening, but they had like a different feel than like the Gorn, where it's like a very alien thing. It's like I knew there was going to be some sort of reveal because we had to see what was underneath. You don't have this thing absolutely covered in armor if you're not eventually going to see it. And I thought it was going to end up being like, I don't know, like maybe like Men in Black, where they're just like these little itty bitty things.
Oh my God, that would have been great.
These robots.
A Dalek?
Yeah, I mean, almost like a Dalek. I will reference Doctor Who anytime. I am referencing a lot of
more
stuff
than the
this
Kelvin
season.
verse, though. Come on.
I mean, I'm just trying to count. Like, I mean, I've mentioned Doctor Who a lot like 3 times in the last, 1 minute. But yeah, no, it was fantastic. I do not care for the booze thing. It did not land. Didn't land right. It didn't. There was just a wrong tone for it. It just didn't really work. And I don't know quite what it is, because certainly that is something that happens in like lots of fight scenes where people decide to like do a Molotov cocktail out of a bottle of alcohol. I guess just the fact that it feels so un-Star Trek-y, and it was unnecessary because it didn't really do that much good for them, and they could have done anything else. So I don't think it added anything other than, and I don't even think that it was a good joke. So maybe if they had an actual good joke that
Imagine Pike like, no, don't use the alcohol to help us save our life because that's an expensive bottle. Like that, yeah.
That was the thing for me. Like I get episodes like this that are like heavy, that sometimes like you need a comedic break, but I think you were already getting that with like Pelia and the phones. So with Pike and La'an, it was very serious. Like someone just died and he's like talking about a precious bottle of booze, that threw me off a lot. And I was like, oh, I get trying to put in a comedic beat. It just didn't land. That's all. And sometimes that happens. It's not a big deal. The rest of the action was still super dope. I love the moment where, speaking, like, we get a lot of Jeffrey tubes in this episode. He comes out swinging with the Jeffrey tubes door and like hits the dude. Like, that was so cool. That was so good. And I do have to say, the minute the dude didn't shoot him, I was like, that's a human under there. I knew it from that moment. I was like, yep, these guys are human. Or some, I didn't know they were all human, but I was like, some of these guys are human. Like, it's like a collective of different species, you know, like
that weird book. What is that book? Where Spock gets kidnapped and they go, like, it's a Strange New World book.
Oh, the High Country. I don't like that
and
book.
There's like that collective of like
yeah.
aliens that like fight an unending war.
Yeah.
That book.
It was weird. Anyway, so I kind of suspected immediately, but I loved, like, Spock. I mean, not Spock. Pike and La'an is a team up you don't get often. So getting to see them have a bit of a dynamic and work together. There is a good comedic beat in this when Pike's like, oh yeah, you got to go down to the sewage level or the waste removal level, and he kind of pulls like the captain's prerogative. It's like, I'm not going. That was a cute little moment. I like that quite a bit. Let's talk about the big finale, the big climax. Farragut arrives and disables the scavenger ship with Chapel's craziness cell plan. I like this was Chapel's plan, backed up by Kirk, by the way. With that, Ortegas tries to break Enterprise free while Pike tries to cut off the umbilicals that are disabling the Enterprise. Ortegas, as we talked about, hits the wall. Una gets her big hero moment and gets them out successfully. And then Farragut launches photon torpedoes, and this was Spock's idea, into the vessel, which I don't think anyone on board Farragut knew would have the effect that they did, but it does destroy the ship, because I think someone pointed out what it hits inside the scavenger ship is actually the D7, which then has like a warp core breach and blows up the ship from inside. So it was like both good luck and horrible luck that they end up killing everybody. We'll get to the twist in a second, but what do we think about the climax and the action, Giraffe?
Yeah,
Right.
It was fun action. I knew they were gonna save the Enterprise. Like, I had no doubt about this. It would have been another ship, like in Lower Decks. I'd be, people may die, but it was the Enterprise, and they all have like armor plot over there. So I was just like, they're gonna be fine. I know Pike is fine. I know Una is fine. Pike himself knows he's fine. Like, literally, he knows he's not gonna die there. So, the whole Nessel thing, I had to watch the episode 2 times to understand what was going on with the plan and also how they blew up. So I think it was a little bit fuzzy in the idea that it was not super important how they did it in itself, because it was more technobubble, but it also kind of took me by surprise, because I was like, oh, that just like disabled the whole ship. Like, the whole thing inside of the Enterprise with like the poison, like deuterium and what God knows what they were like plugging into the thing. This I followed. Like, it made sense. But whatever the Farragut is going was like above my pay grade. I was like, okay, whatever you're doing. We're stopping here. We don't go to the big reveal, right?
I mean, no, not yet. Let's stick to the action. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it was well done. It was like super exciting to see them like, yeah. But also, I was kind of surprised that like Spock is the one that fires the missile or torpedo.
Yeah.
Spock knows what he's doing.
I think he knows what he's doing. I don't think he knows that like the D7 battle cruiser in there is the thing that's like powering the damn ship.
I think he knows, because that's what they see in the scans.
Maybe. I don't
when
know.
They look with Scotty, that's Scotty like stops and is like, what is this?
I don't think Spock had any intention of killing 7,000 people,
I think Spock had the intention of blowing up the ship, but I don't think he knew there were 7,000 people.
That's
there.
a good point,
Yeah,
too.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
But I think it's the whole point of the episode is that like they want the Enterprise back, and they want it back. And like, even when, when he has this conversation with Kirk and he tells him, oh, the regulation. I was like, if I listen to the regulation, then I have my brother there. And Spock, like, his face, he's like, oh, yeah. Lon is there, Pike is there, everybody's there, And I think he blows up the ship.
I think he does it. I think he knows in some extent that that's going to blow up because he knows what he's shooting at.
Right.
He's the one that stops Kirk from like firing to the grapplers. And he's like, that's
not going to work. Yeah. There's also yeah.
And I think that's the point of the episode. Is like they're so into like, you know, saving the few that they even don't realize that there's the many. I mean, the many are wrong. The many are blowing up planets.
Well,
so
no,
like,
but there's also Giraffe. There's also
There's
an argument
also more
that
many.
the Michelle brought up that they also saved millions on the pre-warp planet, right?
yeah,
so it is
Sullivan's
still the
planet.
needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
yeah, but that I think there's like this idea that he's blowing up a ship and he doesn't. I don't think. Well, the Farragut has no concept of what's going on in the ship.
Yeah, I
Like,
would
they
agree
don't
with
know
that.
what's going on
Yeah.
the Enterprise. They don't know their people, like that they've been boarded. I mean, they suppose they know, but when you see a ship that big, you imagine that there's a lot of people in it. I mean, like, would make sense.
But I think that Spock knows what he's doing. I think he knows he's blowing up the
it's
ship.
it's definitely an interesting argument. Yeah.
And then everybody's like, yeah. And I'm like, you blew up a ship.
I do think, though, that one of the reasons why they were scanning for life signs and we get the whole twist is because they were trying to see if that there was anybody that they could save from the ship when they were blowing it up, because there was 7,000 lives, and then they quickly get they get unalived. But they did want to try, but I think like the ship was beyond repair and they quickly whatevered. I don't know if they vented out of holes in the ship or whatever, but I do think that Spock probably did want to make an attempt to save them if there was the chance. I think that this was all great. I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah, please.
I figure. But everything worked really well here. One of my favorite parts of this episode is that it does feel like, with like one or two exceptions, everybody gets something to do in this.
Yes.
It feels so well rounded in terms of the cast. I think like maybe Mbenga is like the only character who just kind of felt like shoved into the place he was in, where it's just like, we don't really know what to do with Mbenga.
And yet he was still having the time of his life. I kind of loved that.
It did work well, but it was a little. Yeah,
they give him an episode already. They're not going to.
Yeah,
but
right.
that is the thing. It's like he had a whole episode. Not everybody else has had an episode. So let's do like a full ensemble where everybody gets a turn. And it's wonderful. And having Una be the one who, actually saves the Enterprise. I love Una and I want her to do all of the rescuing so that she can become a captain and get her own ship and just live her best life.
Agreed. Yeah, okay, it's time. Let's talk about the reveal, right? Because they were humans, hey, and not just 7,000 humans like we just mentioned, all dead. A group of scientists had set out to look for other worlds before first contact, fearing the planet was already dead because this was literally right after World War III. The planet was probably heavily irradiated. We know from, I think, Enterprise, the Vulcans helped irradiate the planet. Pelia was there when all this happened and is talking about still picking up the pieces from that war, right? And it was the quote unquote best of the best, but turned out into, whatever they became, as Kirk states. Jim is, of course, stunned and tormented, about this, despite saving millions of people in the Enterprise. He did send 7,000 people and humans, especially in his mind, to their deaths. What do we think about this, and about the reveal, and also this big heart-to-heart between Jim and Pike? Giraffe.
So, first of all, the whole thing kind of like, I had to rewatch just that part several times because I didn't know how I felt with that whole thing. I was like, I don't know that I like it. I don't know that I dislike it. I don't know that I understand what they're trying to do here. But I appreciated that it was actually going somewhere because, like, so far the episode that they've given us would be we blew up the ship and everybody's alive
Right.
and we're done. And there would be none of this like kind of ethical dilemma or like hard conversation. I was like, do you mourn more because they're humans and that's fucked up? But also you recognize that it's fucked up, so good for you. You know, so there are things that I really liked in this. I really like the fact that they have this conversation of like, oh, you know, I feel bad because they're human, and I feel bad because I feel bad that they're human. You know, that I have more empathy for my own.
It's not like he would have been mourning if they were Klingons or Romulans.
Exactly. And I think that that conversation is very interesting and is important. And it tells about Kirk that he's able to have these like self exploration and self, you know, doubt being, I feel bad because they're humans, but also I feel bad that I feel bad just because they're humans. And that's well done. I thought that was really interesting because Pike was advocating for murdering every single Gorn 4 episodes ago. But I like that they were able to, you know, go out of like these big militaristic thing, like, let's kill the whole enemy. The enemy is a monster and we don't care about monsters. You know, it was more nuanced and they were able to have an interesting conversation. The whole thing about them being the best of the best living the planet, I was like, that was an interesting choice because I feel that in nowadays when we see that space exploration is basically a hobby for billionaires and that they don't give a fuck about the earth environment or whatever, you know, and they do it for fun, they would be the people that will get the fuck out of the earth right away when they think that earth is doomed. That's why they're doing all this shit. You won't tell me otherwise. That's my conspiracy theory that I believe in. That's what they're doing. So I felt that, oh, they were the best of the best. Though they have like a big, very threatening, like red logo on them. I was like, that's a fucking choice. And then they go to space and they became Reavers. And I'm just like, there is a a talking point here that is missing to me, that there is no like what happened and how this happened if they were the best of the best and they were scientists. Like, you know, they don't even question it, which that's why I had to rewatch it a second time, because I was like, wait, everybody's cool with that idea that like the best of the best that were supposed to save Earth just went into space and became fucking horrible. Nobody has a reflection about themselves, like them as Starfleet going on long away mission for so long. Like we've seen it in Voyager.
I thought there was a reflection with that.
I don't know. I felt it was kind of light. I was kind of confused about it, but there was like this idea of, well, they're just like us, but also they fucking murder full planets. Like, you know, I liked that there was this reflection about it. For me, I felt it was maybe missing a piece of or reflection or history or, you know, something clearer about their like humankind in a way. I felt it was a good that was a good it was a good nod of like us being greedy and us eating everything around us and destroying everything around us so we can thrive. So that's definitely what the Reavers are doing. They're destroying everything around them, but they themselves are thriving. They have 7,000 people on that ship. And the lack of, you know, they have no regard for other life form. It's all for themselves, which is also what we're doing, you know? So I thought that was for Strange New Worlds, kind of a like I was glad that they went somewhere and that there was a reflection about being human and destroying the environment and not being able to have empathy for other species. I thought that was all nice, but there was like something that I didn't get about them being the best of the best, and that I didn't see where this was going.
That's fair.
I liked it.
MC?
And the pre-war planet, the pre-war planet is safe. Yeah.
Yeah, the pre-war planet is safe. Yeah. So I figured out the twist like 2 seconds before it was actually revealed, because when Spock was saying Captain the life forms, I'm like, oh fuck, they're humans.
Oh, I got it when the blood was red.
Yeah,
Because
that's
you know
yeah.
Star
Oh
Trek
yeah.
likes their weird blood color. I was like, red blood?
Yeah.
Those are humans.
Now, as for the twist, I love this. Now, in terms of not getting how they got to this point, I do think that it's been like 300 years or something for them, because it happened well before first contact. And it was not, it was after World War III,
Yeah.
but before first contact. So I
so
don't
maybe like
know
20
the actual
so
timeline.
2063 is first contact. So
Okay.
I'm gonna say this was maybe like 2040s, 2050s.
Okay. Yeah.
Or now.
Or yeah, it
2025,
could
2030.
yeah, it could yeah.
And they did say that it was after World War III. So I personally think that all of like the Elon Musks and the Jeff Bezoses had already fucked off.
I would
That's why
agree with that
these
as
people
well.
are the best
Yeah.
of the best. Like those guys left before the war actually happened. I could definitely see these people. I'm going to take their word for it that they were the best of the best. Like these are basically, we have was it Space Station 1 or whatever, Starbase 1?
Yeah, Starbase
Which
1.
has like those pods of like endangered species. That's kind of what this ship was, that they were worried that humanity might go extinct. So let's send this ship up so that maybe our species can survive, even though this place is, going to shit. And they did talk about getting people from all around the world, but I was definitely with that like scene, I was getting like super NASA vibes from it. And if it's been like several hundred years and they've had several generations of people, because I mean, they didn't send up anywhere near 7,000.
Oh no,
so-
they were making
No.
babies. Maybe they they
No,
were
we're
that evil.
rabbits.
Maybe they had
We're-
slaves on board. Like maybe
Yeah.
they reverted to that shit. Like they listen. Strange New Worlds made it a point to be like these guys are like you said, Draft Reavers. They're evil. They're bad. Like
Yeah. And actually, I specifically pulled up a quote from our favorite Ferengi, Quark, that I think is very appropriate for what I think they were going for in this scene. Let me tell you something about humans, nephew. They're wonderful, friendly people as long as their bellies are full and their hollow suites are working. But take away their creature comforts, deprive them of food, sleep, sonic showers, put their lives in jeopardy over an extended period of time, and those same friendly, intelligent, wonderful people will become as nasty and as violent as the most bloodthirsty Klingon. You don't believe me? Look at those faces. Look in their eyes.
oh my god, MC.
Yeah.
That is exactly what they were going for in this episode, where these humans who had been the hope of humanity went to the edges of what hundreds of years later is the known space for humanity. And they couldn't find people to endure. I am so sorry.
It's okay.
Wow, we didn't hear that at all. Good mic.
Julian's going to make a note about that.
I sure am.
But I totally I sneezed to the idea out of my head.
oh no.
Well, the question for me is like, why didn't they contact humans now that the Federation exists? They would have known.
I'm wondering if they did know, because it seems like they're making it a point of not actually contacting anybody, because they do seem to be going on a kill first, ask questions later.
And isolationist, most probably. It's
Yep.
like, we need to survive, humans first. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, and I mean, he mentioned that he paused when he saw Pike, that
Mhm.
it might have been the first time they actually realized that humans were actually alive and out in space.
or they never killed humans and they just like kept the people and like integrated them inside.
That's what I think. That's
Yeah.
what I think. That's
Because
how they had
I feel-
7,000 people.
I feel there's a eugenic bullshit also going on with the, we need to keep humans. Because once you know there are other species around, why would you be so obsessed with just multiplying,
Yeah.
Yeah, and if they're humans that left right after World War III, I mean that's time when there was some people who believed in eugenics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You guys both touched so perfectly on the reveal and stuff. I'm not going to touch on that. What I will touch on is one of my favorite retcons that they have done for Strange New Worlds is retconning that Pike didn't know Jim Kirk. They'd only met when he was promoted to fleet captain. Having that one-liner last season and opening it up for him then just to like kind of be his mentor is the best thing they've ever done, because anytime that they share a screen, which hasn't actually been a lot if you think about it, it's really good. And Pike being the one to be like, the way that you feel right now is exactly why we're different from them, right? Like that moment is so good. And the moment where, Jim asks him about being the XO of the Enterprise with April, and if like, April would be like knock Pike in line about that stuff. And he goes, no, he didn't. He let me learn things the hard way. And how Jim is learning this lesson hard way. I think that was incredible. And I thought that their dynamic was so good. I love this scene. The reveal is also really good. I don't have much to add to it because you guys really kind of nailed it. It was fantastic. I love this episode. I think it's well done. I think the acting was incredible on all parts. Like MC said, everybody got something to do in this episode, and that's sometimes rare for Strange New World. This is definitely a highlight of the season so far. So
also an Anitra Johnson episode, huh?
Yep. So I kind of just gave my final thoughts. We'll do final thoughts. MC, back to you.
I think that this may be one of my favorite episodes, and it might be my favorite episode that is not a high concept episode. Because certainly if you look at my list of favorite Strange New Worlds episodes, we're talking stuff like Space Adventure Hour, Those Old Scientists, Elysium Kingdom. So I like the really out there ones. Now, this one does have like a gimmick to it by having the TOS people get together, but I don't think that makes it high concept in the same way. This is a very I don't know, bog standard sounds wrong, but it is a Strange New Worlds episode. It's not something that feels like an event outside of it. So yeah, this might be my favorite of just kind of an ordinary Strange New World episode. I thought the twist was very well done. There were hints to it, but it wasn't telegraphed, and the acting was wonderful. I think chemistry is good between people, and this did its job as a backdoor pilot in making me not dread the idea of 5-year mission. Gonna make that happen.
Hey, Giraffe, final thoughts.
It was a very classic TOS-ish episode, like the Cloud Miners, or let that be our last battlefield with, those aliens help us reflect about our own problems. I do like that there was the twist and that there was some conversation about empathy and, seeing your own species and being greedy and all this and all this. I felt it was refreshing to have some depth in the conversation at the end. Like, you see the character grows. I thought the dialogue was nice. I thought that, it was a good episode. Is that going to be my favorite episode? No. Is that be an episode I'm going to rewatch? Maybe not. Not because I don't like it, but because I've seen it twice, and I think
That's fair. Yeah.
I think I know what's going on now.
Right.
I thought it was really funny. The Pelia bit, like the B plot, was really solid.
Yeah. Where was it? This is one of the best episodes of the season, maybe one of the best of the entire series, Jedi Cat says. And yeah, I think that this is probably, there's a lot of episodes I like this season. Like I love Shuttle to Confori. But this is really good. Like, this is up there, and I think probably in the top of the series for sure. Love the Pike moments. I love everybody knows I stand Paul Wesley. I'm just loving every moment that we get with him.
Congratulations to him. He just got engaged.
Hey,
It was
congrats,
announced
Captain
today.
Kirk.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Nice. This episode was absolutely fantastic. Let's get to the subspace to pull and mailbag.
Hailing frequencies open.
Who wants to take the to pull? Go ahead, Giraffe.
Subspace people and mailbag. We asked Trek Freds what they thought about the Sehlat who ate its tail. And this is what they had to say. 81% said, stellar work, Mr. Scott. 10% said, ready for the chair. 5%, giving it all she's got. And 5% said, phoned it in.
Hey.
That is overwhelming.
Yeah, this is, I think, the most lopsided poll we've done so far this season. Yeah,
There was a little bit for everybody.
Yeah. No, this was a very well liked episode. Let's go right into the mailbag with Simon's, please, MC.
Simon wrote 3 words: Kirk's explosive reply.
And I will
My man is going shorter and shorter. What's going on?
for you. For you.
Me?
If anybody needs an explanation, this is actually a very like deep cut. This is the name of a track on the Wrath of Khan soundtrack, that little beat that we get in this episode. So I like that. I will take Eric the Reds, who wrote, this is one of the best episodes of the season so far. It felt like comfort food to see the TOS characters interact. Paul Wesley and Ethan Peck have great chemistry of the Kirk-Spock dynamic in the episode's best scene of Spock helping Kirk find the confidence to save the day. One of my favorite Trek tropes is showing people working together to accomplish a goal, and we see that on both ships. Seeing the Enterprise crew have to use analog phones was a fun bit that reminded me of BSG. On a serious note, the shock twist that the so-called monsters violently extracting resources from other planets as Americans descended from those of our time should make us think and give us pause. Like all good social commentary, this is clearly Trek at its best. Well said. Can you take Jedi Cats, please, Giraffe?
Jedi Cat wrote, one of the best episodes of the season and a darn good backdoor pilot for possible Star Trek Year 1. I actually had a worry that it would be more of a backdoor pilot for the TOS crew, so I appreciated that the Enterprise and the Farragut story threads were given equal time. Paul Wesley continues to impress as Kirk. I liked that we see him sorry, I am blind. I am old and it's very small. Really sorry. And I lost. Okay. I like that we see him a stage where he's not quite the confident, steadfast captain we know and love. The chemistry between the TOS characters was great, and I loved seeing Pike, Lon team up. The twist ending made my jaw drop. Although I have one quibble. While I appreciated the main lesson of commanders needing empathy, I got the impression that the scavengers elicited more empathy because they were humans descended from Earthlings. Would our heroes have been just as empathetic if they'd been alien with a similar origin story? At any rate, it's an ending that gives plenty of food for thought.
Very well said, Jedi Cat. MC, can you take NYRLites, please?
NY Rowlight wrote, I don't think it would happen, but this surpasses Hegemony as my favorite episode of the season. I'm warming to the idea of a TOS reboot led by Paul Wesley. The crew of the Scavenger Ship felt like a darker version of Archer from season 3 of Enterprise, where they needed to survive. The need to survive led to a very questionable moral choice. Every time I see a Vulcan captain, I wonder if it was the person who was going to take command of Discovery in season 2.
Oh,
That's true.
interesting.
The Vulcan captain that never made it.
Oh, is that it? Sorry. I will take Sedano 317, who wrote, this one was a banger episode, a foundational one that shows the beginnings of the Kirk, Spock, captain, and first officer relationship. Lots of great subtle notes, like how many times is Uhura helmed? Watching Kirk, Spock, Uhura, Scotty, and Chapel grow together as a team was great to see. As for the Scavengers, they reminded me more of the group from Titan in Discovery Season 3 that kept trying to raid Earth. That's a good point. Giorgio was too impatient for diplomacy and revealed they too were human. Also, great mentorship from Pike to Kirk at the end. One note, Kirk did try to rescue the survivors of the Scavenger Ship before knowing they were human, which I thought showed more empathy than he gave himself credit for. Let's hope things will continue developing for our nascent TOS crew. Very nice, very nice. Giraffe, back to you. Can you take Johnny Migoros, please?
Johnny Meguro, this is the kind of episode I think we were all hoping for from the beginning of season 3. It took us a little while to get there, but as the old expression goes, let's not look a gift. What?
The gift horse in the eye.
Let's not look a gift salad in the mouth.
Sorry.
I do not know this expression, Johnny. I am very sorry. Today I learn. My only real issue was the shoehorning of the history of the Scavengers at the end of the episode. Just wish that could have been given a little more time or explanation, which might have made it feel a little bit more believable. I have trouble believing these thousands of humans on a ship had been roaming around space for that long, almost certainly aware of Starfleet and the Federation and what had transpired on Earth, but willfully continuing and preferring to live their best scavenger life. I don't buy it, but beside that, loved it. I'd 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Hey, Balthazar Edison would like a word.
He would. Oh, man. And then MCQ, take us home, please, with Michelle's.
Michelle wrote, "This is my favorite episode of the season. I've been critical of Paul Wesley as Kirk, but I am all in now after this episode. The chemistry of the characters, the teamwork, the twist at the end, and that powerful scene between Pike and Kirk are just some of the things that made this episode work well for me. As a TOS fan, it was a thrill to see Uhura, Spock, Scotty, Chapel, and Kirk together helping to rescue the crew. The performances kept me on the edge of my seat."
Indeed. Agreed. Edge of my seat as well. Again, a fantastic episode. I just want to say, I knew y'all would warm up to Paul Wesley. It took 2.5 seasons, but we're getting there. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the collective.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the collective. Okay. I'm throwing shade. Let me throw some shade. That is going to do it for this one. Join us directly following this episode. We've been doing a late night crew watch along of this week's Strange New Worlds episode. So let's call it 11:40 p.m. Eastern time, which is, I believe, 8:20 or 8:40 Pacific draft, correct?
Yep.
We'll do that in a little bit after this. Join us for our review of episode 307 next week. What is Starfleet? Let me tell you guys. This is going to be an interesting show next week. Can't wait.
Go watch this one now.
You are. I can't wait to get your text about it. We will see you next week. For MC for Giraffe, I am Julian. Live long and prosper. Majram, sarcastic Vulcan salute. And here is Uhura to take us out. I think I can never find the right one, and I always feel so bad at the end because I can never find it. I really need to be better at this.
Label it, sir.
I did label it. I always think it's on the raw page. Here's Uhura taking us out. Have a great night.
You fly safe out there.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.